Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR to sign up for a new account. They get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo, AJ, and Blais coming at you as the Avs take on Dallas again, this time in Colorado. Pavel Francouz in net for the Avs. The Avs narrowly avoided another practice injury scare today. Val Nichushkin took a puck and is okay, apparently.
Took it off the knees, what it sounded like the kneecap.
And he went down pretty hard. I don't know, yeah.
I mean, anybody that's been hit right on that kneecap.
You know it's a stinger
anything,
for sure.
like banged it on a wall, been hit with a puck, whatever, bound car door, whatever you've hit it on, knows that thing just, it kills your leg.
Full dead leg.
After you get done swearing at the top of your lungs.
Because there's that immediate, oh, I hit a thing and you're uncomfortable. And then the pain kicks in, and then you're mad about it. And then you can't use your leg for however long. And you're just like, what is this? This is so weird.
One of the greatest hockey clips ever. I think it's Brent Burns and Bobby Ryan. Brent Burns at the blue line, fires a puck right into Bobby Ryan and goes, oh, fuck! Takes it, fires it right back into Brent Burns. Brent Burns goes, oh, fuck!
It's great. It's a great highlight.
So pucks hurt, folks. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
They
here.
do. Yes.
Not a great time. It's a weird game tonight, right? Because the Avs just came off of a game where they kind of just smoked Dallas in every sense of the word.
Yeah, it was. I know you guys don't watch a lot of college basketball, but it's kind of like when you watch Kansas play their out of conference schedule. Like Eastern Washington rolls into Allen Fieldhouse at the beginning of the season, and it's just very routine.
Sure.
And there's nothing exciting. There's nothing
the game is over before it starts kind of thing.
You won't the better team won. The better team played better.
Sure.
There was no real drama involved in it. There was no push. There was no but this happened, and then the game took a turn on a thing. There was just nothing. It was just very straight line, and the score just kind of crept up enough on one side, and the other team was like, well, we got paid today.
Yeah, it really was pretty straightforward and simple, honestly.
Yeah, that's one of the games that, because this year has been full of so many weird games, it stands out now.
Yeah.
But 2 months from now,
no one will remember that hockey game.
Yeah.
The only people who might remember it, obviously outside of the players, are the people who went to it.
Yep.
And even then, if they were a ticket holder, probably not.
Which someone messaged me and said they took their girlfriend to their first game, so it was a good choice to go to that one for Avs fans.
Avs fan?
That is actually awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So,
big props to that. That is great.
Yeah, good choice there on that one for sure. On the Avs side here, you expect a pushback tonight from Dallas, but it is in Ball Arena where the Avs have been superhuman good. So is Ball Arena strong enough to survive the pushback of Dallas here,
I think
Blais?
the balls are strong enough here.
Yeah, balls of steel tonight.
I mean, Dallas is going to come out with something to prove, right? So if you can basically take that first 5 minutes and kind of not allow a dumb goal to happen and shut it down, let them get it into their head that, man, this team is way better than us.
I think it's the other way around. Honestly, I think the onus is on Dallas to not get run in the first 10 minutes because we've seen what's
teams hanging around. A
common thread for the Avs over this dominant home stretch that they've had is that they jump on teams early. Now there were a couple of games, especially when they really were wearing down at the end of January, where they were just.
I mean, they were trying to get through it at that point.
Exactly. There was all the load management in the world was taking place. But I genuinely think that Colorado feels different when they're at home because they feed off the crowd, they get going early, they get the buzz going, and it just turns into this cycle of death for opposing teams. It's really hard for them to get worked into games.
Yeah.
At that point. And this is and given what happened a couple days ago, I expect Dallas plays better. I fully expect
bar's pretty low there.
A much better effort from the Stars, but the Avs in Denver have been a completely different animal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not just results-wise, but process-wise, they're nasty. And they do it a lot by getting out the first periods have been super important for them because they just
roll teams.
They roll teams. I mean, you survive that opening shift, right? And you get the McKinnon line off, and you're like, all right, we're into the game. And then the second shift, they come out and score 4 minutes in, and you're down 1-0. And you're like, dude, son of a bitch. Like, what is this? And I think the onus is on Dallas to not have to climb out of that hole because they're just not a very good hockey team when they have to do that.
Yeah.
They are not built for that. There are plenty of, like, the Avs have given up leads to everybody this year, right? Like, all of the not good teams that they played, they coughed away some leads to those teams. But Dallas is just straight up not built for that. They are not a team that wants to play from behind like that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a different level of painful for them if they get down 2-0 in the first period.
Yeah, they're more of that shutdown team, right? Like they like to get the lead real fast and then play gross hockey.
Win 2-1.
They want to play within the margin. They want to play within one all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think they're going to come out. They're going to be very physical with the Avs. See if they can punch them in the mouth. Maybe get a goal real quick.
I agree.
Yeah, very much so. Good luck.
Joe Pavelski has the magic against the Avs, as we say, but when we looked up the numbers, that actually weren't that great. But
yeah, they really like we think of him as an Avs killer because of what's happened in the playoffs, but his regular season career against the Avs is
just okay. Yeah.
He also had to share Avs killer duties with like 4 other Sharks.
True. There were a lot of Sharks that murdered the Avs.
For a long time he had to share that job. Now that he's in Dallas, he's kind of the only one down there.
Yeah, chat. A Breck Brew Avalanche, some wings. You can't go wrong at the DNVR bar. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, man, the wings.
They've been a staple.
Darren set down the wings, and both Blais and I were like, "Yep."
Well, we know what we're getting tonight.
We're getting those tonight.
Yep.
This is how it goes sometimes.
Yep.
Francouz getting the start tonight. It's become a weird situation where, like, Francouz has played amazing since he's come back, but also so has Darcy Kuemper. So you're in this spot where.
Yeah, we're like Frankie had started to play so well that we were like, is he going to push another guy for his job? And then Darcy Kuemper was like, "LOL, bye." And you're like, okay, well,
man, looking at like all of his stats and stuff too, Darcy Kuemper's like just cruising up those charts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of right direction movement there, and it's not to take anything away from Francouz.
No.
The reality is here, and we talked the other week about, there's interest on both sides that they want him to stay in Colorado.
Definitely, I think.
Oh yeah.
Of the pending free agents, I feel like
he's the one that's
Francouz
for sure.
and Nichushkin are the ones that I would like. I would bet body parts are not going anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're betting body parts to keep them in the sack. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Just checking the math on that.
Look, not all of us are 10s, Rudo.
But Frankie, really, when you go look at his numbers, yes, obviously it's an extremely small sample size, but they're elite numbers so far this year.
Yeah, they are high-end backup numbers, low-end starter, like, you wonder about it.
Yep.
Because very rarely does a guy ever just take the starter job and just keep those numbers.
Right.
You look at a guy like Philip Grubauer, whose numbers have remained, obviously this year being the problem, but were strong as a starter. But the backup numbers were much better. Like there's just a way that this works.
Yep.
And Frankie has done enough where you could. We've talked about it, his free agency and stuff, that he could, if he really wanted to look around, especially in the Arizonas and Buffaloes of the world that just don't have an answer in that position.
Someone would probably give him a starter.
Yeah, somebody would probably give him that, $2.5 million. $3 million per year for 2 or 3 years
to give you a shot to play the first
kind of,
25 games of the year to see if you're a starter kind of thing.
Kind of the Carter Hutton-ish type of guy, right?
Yep.
Like, can he be that guy? But it's a problem for later, right?
Yeah.
Like right now he's in Denver, and anybody that was curious if there was still any doubt about what the coaching staff views the hierarchy as, this back-to-back tells you.
Kuemper's getting Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's that big game tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And do you think the big game tomorrow, do you think it plays at all into their... Because I think in previous years, they might have been peeking ahead at it. But this year's team has been so laser focused on one day at a time that I'm not comfortable pushing that storyline tonight. We'll see how they play and see if I can use it as an excuse later.
Given the point streak that they're on, it's really hard to see them looking ahead at this point.
But knowing like all the press that Vegas has been getting, like all the things that are going on inside of Vegas right now, you as a player, you're looking at that, wanting to take your shot.
I'm sure,
oh, cool.
I'm sure they
back.
know. Yeah,
I'm sure they're plenty excited about it. But you also have a job tonight against a division opponent.
Right.
And to be honest with you, a division opponent that is fighting for playoff position. And
these points are way more important for Dallas.
You would really love to be part of the reason that they decide to sell players at
they decide to sell Joe Pavelski specifically.
Especially if you're one of the teams calling about one of those players, you'd really love to not give them points.
Okay, yeah. I mean, after the last game, you're like, you start. I mean, it's just like what people do. They just start overlooking opponents
for sure
when you start dominating a team like that, and you can't do that, right? Like,
I mean, how many times after game 1 against Vegas was I like, game 1s are the weird one, we need to stop.
Yep, that's
human
nature a little bit.
You know that the Dallas team from the other day, they are that team sometimes, but you also know that they're much better than that.
Yep.
I fully expect this to be a Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, Dennis Gurianov. Like, I expect that their speed is going to play well tonight, that it's going to show up. Because all we saw the other day were just quick flashes of their young talent. Like, it was really just Rupe Hintz. Like, he was the guy who had all of their chances. So
Mira just came off of a game where he got absolutely
murdered. It was not a good night for Heiskanen.
I maintain that was not a trip.
It was definitely a trip, but that's
also
okay.
Matt Holliday touched home plate, so suck it.
True. Sometimes you take the dubs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Papua New Guinea. That's a dope place to have a person from. That's kind of sick. I didn't know we had Papua New Guinea's OCE, right? They count as OCE, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
In our world, yes. I would say.
For hockey, definitely OCE. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, at this point, to Simply Amusing's comment here, I don't think the Avs care all that much about the regular season either. Like, they've given themselves such a cushion.
I think they've put themselves in a position
that they don't have to
chase some history now, and so they're like, well, we're already in this room.
So you're bringing up the exact conversation that I wanted to talk about, game management for Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Even worst case scenario, they're 5 points ahead of Minnesota for first in the West, and that's if Minnesota wins all of their games in hand.
Everyone right now they're going to.
Right.
They're playing unbelievable.
Everyone in the Pacific sucks in comparison. They're not close in the points game, not even Vegas. So how hard does the game management start date? Is it still too early? Are we talking about starting to rest guys really, or maybe bring up some interesting call-ups? Game 60? Game 70? Never?
It depends on how it plays out, but really, like, when you start having the clinch conversation, when you clinch the postseason, all right, you've checked the first box. Then you want to win your division. Then you want to make sure that you have home ice. You really aren't, like, resting guys realistically in the NHL until you get into the last 2 weeks of the season.
Okay.
Because of the way that the NHL math works. Because
no one's ever eliminated in this freaking
because
league.
There's always the theoretical of, all right, well, you have a 19-point lead on this team, and you each have 10 games to play, but what if you lose all 10 and they win all 10? Then they're in the playoffs, and you're sitting at home wondering what the fuck is happening. So, because of the way that the point system works, like, you have to, like, realistically, they're at, 72 points right now?
71, I think.
They have as many points.
Is it 2? Okay.
Yeah. They have as many points right now as the bottom 7 teams in the league are going to get.
Yep.
All season.
Yeah, crazy.
Probably more than
like they are probably 15 wins away in the from being like you're home free.
Yeah.
Like Because once you start to get into you're in the 106, 110
You're in the
range.
ballpark of 50 wins.
If you start having the conversation about 110 points isn't winning you a division, you're in a fucking crazy division. You're in the Atlantic. That's exactly the conversation those guys are going to have over there. Where 110 points might get them third place.
It's so sick.
You're not until you really like they've dusted Nashville. It doesn't really look like it because of the games in hand, but they've dusted Nashville.
Yep.
The games in hand is the only thing keeping this conversation from being
it being a literal runaway at this point.
The Wild having those games in hand where you're like, well, they could be 5 points back and they have a couple of head-to-heads remaining, and these conversations.
You're jumping through hoops to get Wild into the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They continue to win games, and you're talking about the look, halfway through March. They get to the deadline. They probably start eliminating a team or two in the West, especially Arizona and Seattle.
Yeah, they're quick outs.
They're getting close already.
Yeah. So those teams are 50 points behind. Like they're coming up on cannot mathematically catch the Avs territory in the next month.
Yeah.
So,
and it could be more like the next 2 weeks.
I mean, it's
you got to keep winning though. I mean, you have to keep winning. You have to keep taking care of business.
That's the thing too, right? With the Wild, that's the weird thing. Like if the Wild keep on this pace, and the Avs start slipping a little bit, there could be some competition there.
Last 10 games, Minnesota 8-1-1, lost ground.
Yeah, that's
Colorado's 9-0-1.
I mean, what's happened in years past though? Like remember the year the Avs caught up to the Blues. I mean, I know this isn't going for the division win, but just to get into the playoffs, they were behind by quite a few games,
and that's
came back on that huge.
You're trying to avoid nonsense like Duncan Keith scoring a goal with 7 seconds left in the game.
Right. You don't want his Duncan Keith's second goal of the season in the final 3 seconds of regulation to be a thing that factors into that.
Right.
That's where your game management, you throw it out the window and you're like, let's accomplish these goals and worry about that when we get there. Yeah.
For sure.
And that's where the conversation is one day at a time. Yeah. The Vegas fiasco or fireworks or shenaniganery, that's tomorrow's problem. Right now, they have a Dallas Stars problem.
And on the other side of this, Minnesota's waking up every day and going, God damn it. We're not gaining any ground on this team.
They're like, dude, we're beating Carolina. We're scoring 7 goals. We're dunking on teams, and we're still looking at that ass.
That's tough. Tough, I guess. I don't know what
Rudo
to tell you.
Sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck, baby.
Hard knock life, right?
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Minnesota. Enjoy that $15 million dead cap next year. Ooh, that's all I got for you. Look, Avs are in a great spot. No matter how you chop it up, it would be. All right. I think we all believe the Avs are going to win the Central Division. It's game 47. Are you taking the Avs to win the President's Trophy, or are you sticking with one of the Atlantic teams?
Logic says the money's on Colorado because the East has to play each other.
Yeah.
Those 3 teams in one division just have to play each other constantly.
If I was a betting man,
oh boy, here we go.
I would take the Avs.
Yeah, I just think that's the smart money at this point. If you can get positive odds on the Avs for a win of Presidents right now, you should probably take them, man.
Last I checked, I think they were plus 115, but I don't know what it is now.
The graphic that we put out, right, of the games played versus the games that you still have to play. Yeah. Go take a look at it because there's not a lot in the East, right? Because you're only playing them twice.
Yep.
Versus you're playing
they're
a Pacific.
Done with a lot of those teams.
Yeah. Playing a Pacific division that's soft.
The one big team that you are saying they haven't played at all yet this year out East is Carolina.
Yep.
They have both Carolina games to come.
Yep.
And the thing, the race, the competition is about to take a whole different shape because teams that do fall out of it, that are going to trend. Look at Philly, like they're going to get into we're trying to get what we can for these guys.
Yep.
We want to gear. Our eyes are now on next season.
Yep.
Because Chuck Fletcher's not going to rebuild. He doesn't really need to be honest with you. He's got young pieces all over his roster.
Have his team not be a complete disaster.
He honestly, that's a franchise that just needs a reset button on the season.
Yep.
Because I don't think the talent level that they have present
is fine.
There's no way in hell they should be anywhere near as bad as they are.
I mean, if you get what you would expect out of guys like Konechny and all of that.
So that's a team that's not gonna they're not going to fire sale it, and go all in on being bad. But they are going to be looking towards next year. And guys are playing for jobs next year, and they're playing for roles, and they're playing for, I want to be part of the solution and stuff like that. Those are the conversations that start to happen a lot more in the next month.
Yep.
Where teams that fall out of it, all right, now they're going to start losing good players. And the gap between the middle-class teams gets even wider because the bad teams get worse. They're trying to get worse. Yeah. They're focused. They're not caring about rookies coming up and making big mistakes and costing them games. That now gets called experience.
Yep.
That's a higher draft pick right there. Every loss, baby. That's what that is.
And it becomes beneficial to them. And then you have okay, well, where do those guys go? Where does Claude Giroux go? Because if he lands in St. Louis, which would be fucking dumb, but whatever.
That's crazy that he
if he lands in St. Louis, okay, well.
I don't.
Are you any more afraid of them?
No,
probably not. If he lands in Minnesota, you have a really big problem.
You're scared of that.
That's a lot.
You're definitely scared of that.
And part of that's Bennington, right? The goaltending right now in St. Louis.
Yeah,
I don't
trust that entire.
The thing that Claude Giroux doesn't help you with is your defense and goaltending, right? Which is where St. Louis
has their massive issues.
Yeah, how much longer do you trust Ville Husso to bail you out? And I guess we say this about St. Louis every 2 years. Because, hey, Jake Allen was supposed to be their future.
And then Jordan Bennington, and now it's Husso.
And Brian Elliott was putting up 940 save percentages every year. And you're like, what the flying fuck is happening? And now, Jordan Bennington, they finally failed at goaltending. And Jordan Bennington leads them to a Stanley Cup. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense that they just keep getting it.
The difference is now their defense isn't what it was.
And this is, Claude Giroux doesn't help that.
Yep.
And if you're Philadelphia... Are you taking back a forward from St. Louis? You really want to use that piece
to fix your own problem.
Yeah, to address your defense. That's your big shiny piece. You want to get a guy that's going to help you in the NHL on defense next year. That's where the St. Louis thing makes no sense to me, but the Minnesota thing makes perfect sense.
Yeah. We'll have to see on that one, but we do have to get the Blais' bets, so open up your notebooks, write down Makar for a power play point, and then let's see what else he's...
Oh!
He changed it.
I changed it here.
Oh, God.
Getting away from it.
Let's see.
He just wanted to do something different. It'll be back tomorrow.
It definitely will be back tomorrow, and I probably took it. I just didn't put it on the show.
Blais
I'm more curious about the 4 bets that Blais makes that don't go on this graphic.
No one gets to know about
the ones he's got some shame.
Well, it's more risk, right?
Blais wants to make you money is what these bets are. Let's be real.
I just felt like after that last game, it's going to be really hard for Dallas to come in here and just dominate this game or change up what had happened in Dallas in Ball Arena, right? So I took the Avs puck line at -110. You got to win by 2. So
they won by 4 last time.
It won by 4. That feels like a fair enough bet. The way that the Avs have been at home.
Yeah.
And you're always like, look, if they're up 1, the team's going to pull. And the Avs have been pretty good. They've had a couple of weird, can't score with puck possession in the offensive zone.
They've got the empty netter.
But for the most part, they really have not struggled scoring empty net goals this year. So you always feel like
that was a past problem,
case, right? That and most everything else was a past problem. It's so funny to look at other hockey teams that aren't at the very tip top of the league and be like, wonder what those problems are like.
Yep. Taves with a half an assist at +100.
Not even power play.
Not even power play. Just straight up.
Just check that box real quick.
That was one of those ones where I was scrolling through. I was like, whoops, they screwed up there. I'll take that one.
Find the soft lines, baby.
And then Ottenberg with 29.5 saves again.
When's the last game the Avs didn't get to 30 shots? I genuinely, granted, some of those are goals usually, but still.
Right. I just, they're usually an onslaught, and especially after watching last game. The The only period that Dallas even looked semi-deadly was that second period.
And the Avs buried themselves with 3 penalties in that period. So we do have a super chat here from Banks, $2, asking, does Berkey still exist, Lowell? We were actually talking about this before the show.
All right, last 19 games played. This is what I was pulling up. I saw this question pop up. All right, 19 games played in 2022, just this calendar year. Andrei Burakovsky's played in 19 games. I kind of ruined this game because I told you, but guesses on the number of points that he has?
Before you told me, I would have guessed like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I would have been in the single digits as well.
15 points in his last 19 games. Now, 2 goals and the obsession with Burakovsky and scoring goals, like it's all we ever talk about.
Yeah.
But the man has 13 assists in 19 games played, including the dude just made a huge play on the game-winning goal against Tampa Bay last week.
Yep.
So I would say it's fair to talk about the goal-scoring slump. The overall conversation about Burakovsky, can we maybe tone it down just a touch?
When you dig into it, the puck possession metrics have been insane.
Yeah, he's been one of their. He comes out of games and we're like, Berkey didn't do a whole lot tonight, and then you look at the
like
shot share
70% Corsi for,
and it's plus 24 minus 11. And you're like, what? So I'm just saying, let's maybe just appreciate the Burakovsky that is right now.
Yep.
So after we had that conversation, I might have went to DraftKings to look just to see if there was any type of value there. For an assist from Berkey is over a half, plus 150.
That's good money.
Yeah, I might take that up, actually.
I mean, 13 out of 19 games, he's had an assist.
Yeah.
Well, unless
a couple of those are goals.
Yeah.
You're still talking over half the games this calendar year.
Yep.
He has assists in 11 of those 19 games.
That's for plus 150.
Yeah.
That you're getting good coin flip money odds there for a thing more likely than a coin flip. So, anyway, the Avs are good. I'm going to say this on every show until they're not, which is going to be like 5 years from now. So the Avs are good. They're less than 10 minutes away from puck drop here, so we are going to get out of here. We are back for postgame, of course. Be sure to tune into that. Also, tomorrow, hang out with us all day. We got pregame, we got the watch-along, we got postgame. So should be a fun one tomorrow. We'll talk about that more on the postgame. Go enjoy this game with the Avs. We will talk to you after it's done.